finally going. Yes, we are live. Fantastic. Here we go, Trevor. Trevor, we are live. We made it. We made it. I don't know if we did make it. Did we make it? Yeah, we made it. I think we made it.
Nah, I'm not frozen. Just joking. Yeah, all good.
So, hey, listen. Please carry on with your story. So me and Trevor, we talk most days, don't we? We talk most days. And he was just telling me a story. So let's see. Should we wait for people to come on? Or we might be waiting a long time.
I wasn't expecting story. This was a private story, but anyway, I'll continue. So Tuesday morning, I was walking to the shop around about 11 a.m. I wasn't. Anyway, I needed bread and milk, as normal people do. And I walked past my local church, and I noticed there was a load. Outside it was like electric. You know, there's electric pensioner carts.
Yeah.
Mate, there was loads of them. It looked like the whole village was having a race. So I mean, I was curious. So I went in and I noticed people were. It's quite sad, but some people were using my local church's food bank. So I just went in and I bought myself a coffee, a little slice of cake, and I just sat there. And just chatting. Really, it's nice just to sit and chat and speak to people, isn't it?
It's lovely. I think so. Yeah.
Would you like? Does anyone? There's loads of bread left. Does anyone want bread? And I didn't take it. Now, bearing in mind, I was on my way to the shop, as I told you earlier on, to get milk and bread, but I couldn't bring myself to take it from there. I just went, no, you're okay. I'll go to the shop. It's for people that are struggling. But if you can go in and give them a cup of coffee and have a chat, it means the world to some people, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. I mean, and you know, a lot of times people don't think about going in and doing something like that, but every little bit helps. By the way, we do have people here. Hello, we are live.
Brilliant. I think yeah. I think I look better than you right now because you keep blurring, dropping in and out of the atmosphere.
No, I think it's because of the streaming. But listen, so let's talk about some stuff. So I have to used to calling it X. Can you guys get used to calling it X? Because I can't get used to calling it X. It's kind of weird. But I went on X today and I saw someone saying how, I'm not going to say who it is because I just think that they aren't very nice people. But they were saying like how great it is that, you know, one of the British politicians is talking in Urdu. And I'm like, actually, no, I think that's a terrible thing.
Yeah.
Because I remember, you know, when we were growing up, and I'm older than you, Trev. So when I was growing up, I remember there was a period of time where all the street signs and everything at the hospital was just in English. And then they started changing it. And to me, that was the beginning of the end, right? Because you need unity, right? Like you need unity. And one of the fundamental things that unites people is language. So like when I came to America, it was really funny. Sorry, segueing on this, but it was really funny because I had to go and I had to do a citizen test when I came in. Dude, I was swatting up. And I'm really good on American history because I believe if ever you move somewhere, you should know about the history of that country and the traditions and the culture in that country. And I think that we kind of, as Brits, you know, growing up as, you know, for me in England, it's kind of like, well, America's kind of the same. You don't really ask the question why it's different. And so, you know, I really studied. So when I went in for the test, I was, you know, very, very nervous about getting everything right. And it's only 6 questions. Trump changed it to have been more questions. And of course, Biden changed it back to be less questions because the last thing you do is you want to actually get people that come in to actually know something about the country. But my point is you had to answer in English, or, you know, you had to have some grasp of English. It's not as much as what it should be. But in the UK, that's when I started seeing the cracks, right? The fissures in the country where people started speaking a different language in England. And then that forms a barrier. It just does. It forms a barrier between you and them. It just does.
Agree.
And she was saying, this is great that we're talking to people in the community, you know, with a different language. I'm like, no, that's actually really, really terrible. Everyone should speak English. There should be a citizenship test in the UK that says that you have to be able Did I lose you?
You froze for a second, but it's all right. Mate, I get it, but you got to bear in mind that this isn't about looking after ordinary citizens. This is about votes. It's in every country. It's about votes. I mean, if I can manage to bring in, if I think I'm going to lose an election, or I think I want to win an election, I'll put pressure on the government because I'm a politician to allow in 5,000 of this race and 6,000, 4,000. And then because I have fought hard for them to come into this country, they're all going to vote for me. So I've gained 11,000 votes. So, I mean, when is it now? I mean, I've seen it in the US, I've seen it in the UK, actually, coming up to the election when people were voting. I mean, they said you need to have photographic ID, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you know what was not allowed? The veteran's ID card. The veteran's ID card with your photograph on it, who your name is and stuff. I mean, I do understand, but the thing is, if you don't drive, you haven't got a driving license. If you've never traveled abroad, you haven't got a passport. Now, here's one for you, right? And a lot of people don't have passports or driving licenses, but you know who does have passports? People that come into our country, so they're able to vote for the people that bring them in.
I never ever thought of that, Trevor. That's a really good point. That's
mate,
a really good point.
It just came to me, mate. It like Nostradamus.
Were you sitting on the loo? Were you on the toilet? Because listen, my best ideas come when I'm in the shower. I'll be sitting there, not when I'm having a dump, right? But I see he's laughing because Trevor, you know it's true, right? You were sitting there and you were like, passports. Look, there are worse things to think about while you're having a dump. So listen, I just want to go down on this. I'm looking at I want to thank everyone for being here who's here, because I'm looking now and I've never had this live chat. So I actually timed some asshole out already. So he's gone. I want to say hello to everyone. Hey, Adam, Christopher, Suzanne, Chris, Shiloh. I'm sorry you didn't get that YouTube notification. I've got to tell you, I'm very new to this and I use a different software than Trevor does. So Trevor couldn't help me on this one. But I was determined to do a live stream, right? Like determined. This old dog can learn new tricks. So so we got Sharon, Maria, hi, Neil Kennedy. Hello, mate. Goodness me. That's one of my old friends. So yeah, what do people think? Do people think that because you get told now, Trevor, that you're a racist if you think that everyone should speak English? I mean, some people will tell me that I'm from the black country, so I can barely speak English anyway.
You're asking me?
I know. I'm asking you.
Found out yesterday that broke my heart that I'm not an ambassador. You know.
Oh yeah. Do you want to talk about that a little bit? Because this is kind of funny. Do you want to get into it? Because that's funny.
Yeah, why not? There is a company called Pagoda. Pagoda make luxury watches.
Very nice.
Yeah, and Pagoda was the name of an SAS operation. Second World War Operation Pagoda, and it's the name it's part of his history with Special Forces of the United Kingdom, and the name means something special. It means the best of the best, something really, really special. And ex-Special Forces guys took the name on and developed it into a company called Pagoda. And Pagoda make watches. They have T-shirts and hats and things. Anyway, myself and Pagoda have been following each other on Instagram probably since September last year. Their posts look stunning. I always like their posts. I always follow them and I always give good compliments. Anyway, a couple weeks ago, I got a message from one of the guys in Pagoda Company, and he says to me, Trevor, would you like one? And I went, yeah, really? Yeah, okay. He says, listen, mate, thanks for your support. We support you. We'll send you one. And I went, oh, okay. I give him my address. And anyway, within something like within 8 days, the watch turned up and I was a little bit stunned. Anyway, so I've never claimed to be an ambassador, never have. But when somebody goes out of their way to send something really, really nice, I just thought, you know what, I'll advertise it. So I do a couple of pictures, as you've seen. I advertise it with me wearing a watch, doing different things, and I'm promoting them because they've given me something for free. And all of a sudden, my haters are like, Trevor's pretending to be an ambassador. Trevor says, Trevor. And they started inundating Pagoda, and they were like, I had a chat with them, and they were like, mate, people jump to conclusions. Just ignore them.
But I don't like it's so silly because if you go to Pagoda's like Instagram page, it's full of you on it. Like it's you on that page. So it's very, very silly. Like I know that the people that are tuning in who are like came from your channel, I want to thank them all for coming over. They know how ridiculous all this ridiculousness is. They know, but it's taxing. It is exhausting because you're just having to deal with like this bullshit.
But I'm not though, buddy. But
no,
I'm not.
I don't. Yeah.
I mean, the truth is, as you know, I'm not on Facebook or Twitter or any of that nonsense. So I don't see it. I mean, they're shouting at me in an empty echo chamber, but
you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a shame, though. It's a shame because you did have to deal with it. Then you said, you know what, I don't need this. And it's funny because, like we were saying earlier on, that it's actually a communist tactic to do that. So whether that ask some questions. If you got questions for me or Trevor, ask some questions and we'll read them out.
I've done this for you. I've done this for you. My haters are masturbators. No, I'm joking. I haven't made that up.
Are you going to give us a song?
Sounded good, though, didn't it?
I couldn't hear you then. You dropped out then. Well, you sing. Go on, let's hear it. Yeah, go on.
Trevor's got haters, known as masturbators. Trevor, nah.
Don't give up your day job, dude.
I haven't finished the song yet.
Do you think we could start a new band and instead of it being Bros, we could call it Toss?
Well,
it's just me and you, and it's just bad.
Well, you've had a hit single or two.
I have, yeah. Do you know, it's funny because someone asked me the other day, would I ever go back to singing? And I was so, because I've got the setup here now, like it used to be you had to spend a lot of money to get a decent studio setup to record yourself, and it's not that much at all now. I mean, this is as good a mic as you can get for anything. So, you know, I could go and sing if I wanted to. I'm debating it.
The cheeky girls made it.
what would we call ourselves then? If there's a cheeky girls, like I said, I think Toss is a good one. Can we have some suggestions for a boy band for me and Trevor? and who else would be in it? You know, maybe get James Deegan to come in it as well.
James Deegan, he looks like a guy that if anything, he looks like a drummer.
Yeah, but we've all got to be doing the dance. And by the way, I got to say hello to Ruben Sanchez. How you doing, Ruben? Like,
is he?
Yeah, he's a good friend of mine.
Is he? Yeah, awesome. I follow him on Instagram. Yeah,
great guy. He's amazing. He's actually. Yeah, I'm not going to talk about it, Ruben, but he's going through a lot right now. He's been treated very badly by a company. So, but that is I'll let him. If you guys should follow Ruben on Twitter if you can, or the Instagrams. So listen, I watched last night The Ministry for Ungentlemanly Warfare. Have you seen it yet?
Who's in that?
It's Alan Richson and Henry Cavill and Alex Pettyfer.
I haven't watched it yet. No,
dude, it's it's really sad because it's one of those movies that the storyline's fantastic. It's really great. It's a true story. It's like based on a British military operation. And I can't remember the name of the guy now, but I knew him immediately when they said he was his name was Anders. He was a very famous SAS guy, Danish guy from World War II. So everything was right about it. All the performances were great. It just kind of like lacked something. And that's really weird for a Guy Ritchie movie, right? Because Guy Ritchie movies are kind of like really punchy. But I was just like, oh.
Yeah. I mean, I've been watching a few Vinnie Jones things recently, and I've rewatched. I'm on episode 3. I'm rewatching it again. Designated Survivor.
Oh yeah,
That's a great show, actually. I actually
I've not.
prefer Designated Survivor than House of Cards.
I haven't seen it. House of Cards. I watched not the British version. I watched the American version for a little
Yes.
while. I just haven't watched. The last thing I watched on television was Fallout. I just don't get much time. I mean, I've got 1,000 kids, so I'm like that.
Well, I mean, I've seen advertisements of this new movie called The Fall Guy, and I'm going to be honest with you, I don't want to ruin my childhood by watching this shit. I'm going to stick to the old guy. I loved it. Great. The Fall Guy with the big Jeep with the eagle on the front. That's me. I don't want to watch some. I don't want to watch the nonsense.
Yeah, listen, I mean, it's the same thing with the Dukes of Hazzard. Like, we grew up with all those great TV shows, didn't we? Like, probably had the best intro music.
Yeah.
I did a debate on this. So what do you think is the best? Do you think Magnum the best music?
No. I think out of all the shows, the most iconic theme tune would have to be the A-Team. You'll never get that wrong.
Ba, 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 ba,
Exactly.
Ba. You know what's good though? Knight Rider.
Well, Knight Rider, Airwolf, Street Hawk, they're all there, mate. Chips.
Street Hawk. Oh my gosh. What about Airwolf?
Yes, I remember that. Yeah. Here's one for you. A little bit of trivia for you.
Yeah, no, hold on. Before you do it, sing it and see if people can figure out what
I don't know it. But what I am going to give you is some trivia which you've never known. I'm telling you this right now. Ready?
Okay. Yep.
The helicopter used in Airwolf is the same helicopter that Queen used to fly to Wembley on that massive concert.
Really?
Yep.
Is it the same type or the actual same helicopter?
The actual helicopter, because Freddie Mercury.
Are you kidding?
He loved it and he bought it.
Listen, I think Airwolf was awesome. I didn't like Blue Thunder. There was a bit of, it sounds like like a porn movie, doesn't it? Like Blue Thunder. But I loved Airwolf. That beginning. It was like Saturdays at 5:00. You're trying to get back from the match, wouldn't you? Like you go to the football game and then you'd be trying to get back in time to watch Airwolf. And I think, was it on like 5:15 on a Saturday afternoon?
Jesus, mate, I don't know. On Saturday, it was Swap Shop and all the programs on in the morning, and you watched all the cartoons, and then was it Saturday? No, it was Friday night. It was Top of the Pops, wasn't it?
No, Top of the Pops was Thursday.
Was it? Oh, well, I used to love watching.
I'm saying that because I've been on it. No, we used to listen to the chart rundown on a Sunday. That used to be awesome. You used to have to, get your record and play on your tape, right? And you'd be like, "Quick, get that one." And Dave Lee Travis dude would come in and he'd be like, "Oh, and thank you." He'd be like, "Shit, I nearly had the whole thing. I nearly had the whole song." So I remember doing that. Can I just say this, Trevor? I remember doing that for Big Country. Remember Big Country? In a big country. In a big country. And I remember doing that and I was like, oh, dang it. Like the DJ came in just before. I was like, shit. It's really annoying.
So it wasn't Jimmy Savile that brought you on?
No. Hey, listen. Look, I don't care what anyone says. Everyone wanted to be on Jim Will Fix It. Come on.
I did write in. I'm not going to lie.
What was it? What did you ask for?
I wanted him to fix it for me. I actually...
He didn't work, did it?
No.
Still broken.
Well, I know why.
Yeah.
I can tell you why. Because you know why? I wasn't fucking attractive enough for him. That's why I never got on the show. He never picked gingers, did he? Prick.
God, it's so bad. When you look back, you're like, what?
I
always used to think he was weird. A lot of those guys were weird.
Did you notice, though? there was never any gingers on his knee. Our hair saved us from.
Hey, dude, it's like you have a superpower.
Jimmy didn't even like us.
Like, not even Jimmy Savile liked us. Dang it, us ginger. I was gonna get you something the other day. I saw something. Where was I? And it was something to do with being ginger. And I was like, I'm gonna buy that,
thanks.
and I'm gonna send it to you. But don't you think? Can we have a chat about this for a second? Because why is it that women are called redheads and guys are called gingers? I mean, I just think that that's sexist. It's some ist anyway.
Well, I don't know. It's definitely hate, though, isn't it? It's hate.
I think it is. I mean, you're a marginalized group.
We're the only. I mean, in some ways, it's a disability.
You know what? You should get one of those tags so you can park like right the way at the front. And when someone comes out and they go, "What's your problem?" You go, "Look at me."
The sun's hot, and this is the only shade.
You know what? I've got a friend of mine, and it's funny because she could never. She was a redhead. See, because it's a she. She was a redhead, and she could never ever go on vacation. Well, she did go on vacation to sunny places, but it was a misery for her. You don't have like that very very pale skin though.
Well, I mean,
do you burn?
I've been sunburnt in quite a few different continents. It's, here's the thing, right? When you know you can't take sun, wear the right cream. Don't be a dick. Unless you've been drinking and then you end up lying on the beach at Nicosia. But these things happen. But I try to stay out of the sun. I don't like going to the sun. However, I told you where I'm going last night soon, but I'll not mention it. But I try and avoid the sun. If I go to a hot place, I know, Trevor, it's nearly the hottest time of the day. Don't lie out and be a prick. You manage it.
Yeah, no, you got to be sensible. I mean, I've been very lucky. You know what's funny? I don't know if I've ever shown you this, Trev, but I did 23andMe, and my 23andMe put me specifically in England and Ireland. Like, that's it. I am 100%. Well, it's like 99.7% English, Irish, right? Which I knew that anyway.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
But I rarely burn in the sun, like rarely burn. And my wife is Maltese and she burns. I'm like, nah, there's something wrong here. I don't understand. But I was like, when I did 23andMe, I'm like, I'm sure somewhere there's going to be some kind of mix. I'm going to have some kind of mix in there somewhere.
Well, you'll be surprised to know that I am 41% Nigerian.
Are you serious?
No. I'm full of shit. A bit like Meghan Markle. Sorry. Sorry.
No, I thought, listen, it's possible. It's not outside.
A ginger who's got a percentage of African in him? Yeah.
Yeah, no, there are. It's like, this happens. Let me have a look at these messages. Can you see them?
No, it's your thing now. I'm not privy.
Apples. Okay. Foxy.
Foxy's a great guy, good YouTuber, up and coming. He's starting to grow.
Very funny.
Well, Foxy started off very, very quiet in the YouTube world, and then Fiona and Graham, two other YouTubers from Gibraltar, introduced a lot of us to Foxy and said, check this guy out.
Oh.
And so they helped sort of launch him into YouTube, and then the rest was we just follow him and support him, and he supports us.
I'm going to have to get into this. You're going to have to connect me to these people because I hear they're good peeps. My mate Neil Kennedy. So Neil Kennedy and I used to ride motorbikes when I had no sense. And
that says a lot for Neil Kennedy. That's not a very good thing to do, is it? Like, my friend Neil's here. I used to hang around him when I had no brains. I mean, that's
when I had no brains and I used to ride a motorbike. No, he was amazing on him actually. But yeah, I'll speak to you later. All right. So come on, guys. I'm opening up to questions. I want some questions here in this. Or what do you want us to chat about? I am gonna go. I'm gonna go and look quickly on X, and this is what they asked me: do you play video games? No, you do though, don't you? You play video games.
Well, hold on, stop. I don't know how to play video games. My son's got a PlayStation, and sometimes I go into his bedroom, I turn it on, and I have a game of FIFA, which is the football game. I don't know how to do all those other games. I'll have a game of FIFA, and at the minute I am Ipswich Town football manager, and we're in the Premier League.
Hey. Yeah, that's funny. I knew that you did a little bit.
Yeah.
I did years ago. I just, you know what? Like, I need to learn how to relax a little bit. Right. So, you know me, I'm always doing something, doing this, doing that, doing this. I know you are as well, but I don't. I think it's mainly because I have all the kiddies that I just don't relax. I tend to be working. Like I'll work at night. I'll work, whatever.
Well, that's your problem. You need to be able to come on this and do a live stream, and it not be work. It just be fun, because then that way you'll enjoy it more. I mean, you spent most of the morning doing interviews already, and now you're on here doing this.
Yeah. I've done 2 hours of radio interviews this morning for my movie that's coming out, and it's, what people don't realize is, just for the audience, is when you do radio interviews. When I was in Coronation Street, which most of the people that are tuning in probably know, they told me, like, look, you can't give them any plot points. Like, you can't tell them, because back then it was a big deal, right? If you found out that there was a big thing, and they were Brian Park, the producer, was doing a lot of that. He would have these big events. Like, do you remember Derek and Mavis got fired? Like, they got kicked. So that was a huge. I think that was the episode before I came in. The episode after I came in, that they got the boot, and that was really scandalous. And so,
what made the producers do this scene? There's this scene. This is going back years, probably, I don't know, 30 years. There's a scene where you're sitting at a table with Sally Webster and you're holding her hand. And her husband walks in, stands behind her and goes, hey, Sal, what's going on here? What's going on here? And you go, Sal, have you made your decision? And then you stand up, and she stands up, and she's like, I've got to stay here for Kevin and the girls. And you're like, well, it's your decision. You've got to live with it. Why would they have you doing a scene where you're sitting in another man's kitchen and he didn't even strike you? He just stood behind her going, what's going on here, Sal? It was just a weird scene.
I know. Do you know what?
Most men would have gripped you. What could you do? Yeah.
Well, dude, we had a fight. And here's the funny thing is, one of the things that we did, we had a punch up, and I didn't hit him back. And Mike is a lot shorter than me, and I was meant to be a veteran in that. And I was like, I would have, even the character would have like smashed him up on that. Like, he wouldn't have stood there and just taken it. But that's just sometimes, what they do. But we would, so with something like that, like we may have an affair with Sally, which was the main, what I'm kind of remembered for on that show. You couldn't. Yeah, which was, I'll go tell you a story about that in a minute, but you couldn't really, I couldn't give any plot points. So I'll be doing an interview, and all the time I'm thinking, I can't tell them anything about what's going on. So you have to constantly deflect while giving an interview, while not looking like a dick, and while not being quiet, right? So it really is a skill. It's a skill to do it. And I just had to do that because I can't give too much away on the plot of this movie, but I have to give enough that it keeps people engaged. Yeah. And it's really difficult. And that's why a lot of people just go, I'm not doing any interviews at all, or like De Niro says yes or no, that's all he says. It's actually kind of quite difficult. And then there's the legal aspect as well. Like, you don't want to get dragged into anything that you could get sued for.
Like Les Battersby.
Because America's very Les Battersby. Why don't we
Les the guy who played Les Battersby, he got sacked at the end. Every time he did an interview, he was going, yeah, well, Les is getting fed up with it. Yeah. And eventually he's gonna walk out. He got sacked in the end.
Hello. Sorry, what were you saying about Bruce?
Well, yeah, Bruce. I said Les. Bruce ended up getting sacked from Coronation Street because he kept giving away the plots.
That's funny. Okay,
Pretty
so I just
bloke.
want to let me just check on something because someone said someone's duplicated Foxy's account. So this says Foxy313. Is that not him?
Foxy313 is Foxy, I believe. Yeah.
Okay, someone just said it's not. There you go. Fake Foxy, they're saying. Is this right? How do I look at this? I'm going to leave him in there. You guys can, all right.
Foxy's a decent bloke, and you can tell he's really down to earth, and he asks questions and things. If this Foxy is being rude, then just block him, because Foxy would never be rude.
He says, "Oh, I will accompany Joan Colt to visit Trevor in prison." All right, you can fuck off, pal. You are gone. How about that?
Yeah,
See ya.
troll, stalker.
Gosh, don't they have better things to do with their lives? Hold on.
No, mate. I mean, some people just sit. Some people don't achieve anything; they just troll people. Quite sad.
Yeah, I've just said, okay, thank you, Paul, too. He just came in and, yeah, this is new. I don't have moderators, so it's like just me here having a look. So I have a question.
Yep.
Excuse my language, by the way. I just don't have tolerance for these idiots that
I ignore them, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Two Doors Down says you got to hook Sarah up with good logic. He's great. Like Joe is fantastic. If you don't know him, Trev, you should. He's a really brilliant lawyer from New York, and I went on his show. He's terrific. Let me have a look. Hold on. Someone
I was. You did a podcast.
Bay, I think
you did a podcast a couple of days ago. He said to say hello to you. He just started following me on Instagram. 2 days ago, he uploaded a podcast he did with you.
Oh, Will.
Will, that's him. Yeah, he said to say hello.
Oh, he's great. He's really great. Yeah, no, he's an Australian guy. He works at The Spectator. Really great. It's kind of funny when you get to that age, Trev, where he calls me up. He goes, "Hey, I love what you do," and he said, "My mum's a big fan of yours." I was like,
"That's nice. That's always nice, isn't it?" Yeah.
No, it is. I mean, I love it, but we are getting to the age now where it's the kids are coming up and their mums are fans of yours, which I'm very grateful for. But you do start feeling a little bit older. You just start feeling a little bit older.
Well, I mean, the other day I had what did I have? I had someone complaining about me on Twitter, saying I had terrible teeth. Trevor's teeth aren't real, and I'm like, what? I mean, God. I mean, I don't care if my teeth are black or orange or green. I mean, what's it got to? Why is someone getting so upset about that? I mean, it just baffles me. It baffles me.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing, and I get this quite a bit, and you know this, Trevor. So like, I am very much I'm from a working class background. My mom was a single parent. And I dreamt of becoming an actor. Like, that was the thing that I always wanted to do. It was a dream. And I achieved that. I mean, I achieved it as just doing acting, period, was a win, let alone doing theater, then doing television, and then winning that award. Where is it? Which side am I on? Winning that award there, within being in Coronation Street for a few months, and then going to Hollywood, and then getting being in a movie that won 2 Oscars, and then going on and working with Sly and doing all this. And they come up to me and they go, and by the way, this is something that I don't tell everyone. He's like, I didn't take every job that came my way, right? You can be selective over the work that you do or that you don't do.
Yeah.
But you don't want to be an arrogant asshole and say that. But that's the truth. Like, I turned down a lot of work, and the industry has changed since. But the fact of the matter is I don't expect anybody to know who I am. People are like, nobody knows who you are. I'm like, well, does that validate or not what I was saying?
But you do, what I mean? Because you're here telling me that. You do. You're here telling me that.
Well, yeah. I
You've
mean,
got to bear in mind. You've got to bear in mind, and this is something that I know, right? Your biggest haters, your biggest people that hate you, your biggest haters, watch everything you do. Now the thing is, if I won't use the word hate, but if I didn't like somebody, I would
you don't have
ignore them.
anything to do with them, do you?
I'd ignore them.
Yeah.
But if I don't like somebody, but I'm always watching them, then that means you're jealous. You're jealous of what they're doing. Because if
Yeah.
you don't like somebody, you just don't pay attention to them, do you?
Well, and the other thing is if anyone has achieved anything in life, it's hard. It doesn't matter whether you're a shop, you work on the shop floor, you make your way up to foreman. It's an achievement.
Well, I
You
mean,
know,
nothing gets
life.
handed to you. Nothing
No,
gets
life
handed
is
to you.
hard. Life is hard, and
Well, I think my
yeah.
mum's watching because someone said Jay
Oh,
Coult's. Oh, so my mum is watching. So and she'll confirm this probably in the chat. Ready? See if you want something and you're hungry enough for it, you dedicate. For instance, when I was growing up, I'm from a housing estate, right? So my mum took me and my sister to the judo club. Most
mm,
nights we competed, we trained, we worked hard. Me and my sister at the same time, we we were in a club called Miraquai Judo Club. We both got on the Northern Ireland team. We were both Northern Ireland champions. We went to fight Ireland. We both became All Ireland champions. We were the best in the country at it. We dedicated every living moment to it. And then I grew out of that and I went and did running. And what did I do with running? Again, I was a Northern Ireland fair running champion, All Ireland. And I focus and I stick to it. I mean, I would come home from school, and my mum will confirm this. I would come home from school, I'd have my tea, I'd relax. Right, when we lived in Belfast, I would run and jog to the running club, which was 5 miles away. I would get in there, I'd sit down, I would limber up, and then I'd go training, whether it was hill work or speed work or fast work, fartleks, and I would train with the team. And then at the end of it, I would jog the 4 or 5 miles home. And I'd do that 3 nights a week. And then I'd race every Saturday. And it's because it's in there. It's what I wasn't in. You may laugh. I wasn't interested in girls at school. I was focused on this. I wanted to be
listen.
the best.
Honestly, Trev, I think that a lot of people. I look at my kids, and we've really worked hard to make it so that they are not interested in
Yeah,
relationships up until they they're in their late like 18, 19. Because
yeah.
certainly for the men's brains aren't formed properly anyway, so
Until they
it's
reach
good that you have
35.
something. Yeah, until they reach 50, actually, Trevor. People don't realize this, but it's there. By the way, I do want to give a shout out because if your mom is on here, I want to say hello to her. Hello, Mrs. Colt. I think that your son is an absolute credit to you. I do want to let me segue back to something that we were talking about earlier on. So I was watching the Ministry of Ungentlemen in Warfare, and so not to ruin I don't want to ruin the plot for anyone, but there's a moment where they could cut and run and say it's a military operation, it's not going right, and they have the option to leave, and they turn around and they say, "No, we're going to find another way." And I just thought it reminded me of you, right? It reminded me of you and people like you. And I've been very fortunate in my career to be around people like you, and to call them my friends. Is that you look at that and the decision right there? It's actually really good filmmaking because you're looking like this isn't all is lost moment. Like they're not going to succeed. It's very very slim they're going to succeed. And then they just go, well, no, we're going to do it. We are going to do it.
Yeah. Improvise, adapt, and overcome.
When they're to go in and basically blow up that giant dry dock, just the balls on the guys to do it. And it reminded me of the decisions that you made in your life. And I know you probably say, well, it's probably bloody mental to go and do it. But when
So you're
you
not going
turn
to give
around
it.
and
Wait, Matthew, you're sitting there going, I'm not going to give away anything with a movie, and then you're just telling people that they blow up a dry dock. I mean, how much are you going to let us know?
Can you say that again? You cut out. Say that again. You cut out. Darn it! I'm sure it was very pithy and funny.
It was.
But
Is there any more things you want to give away? They blew up the dry dock. What else did they blow up?
No, that was the other movie. Thank you very much. That was the other story. Now, yeah, your mom's there. Hello, Mrs. Coult. Very nice to meet you. But the point is that I think that a lot of people follow you and respond to you because of the decisions that you've made, right? The decisions that you made. And I know you hate talking about this, but it's really important because we need role models. We need very positive role models, especially for young men right now. And you are that. It's like, I was at a screening of Forrest Gump. Like Gary Sinise, name drop. Gary Sinise invited me to go to an anniversary screening of Forrest Gump, and we were at the Paramount. So Paramount, you've seen those, the lots, the big studio lots. So Paramount lot, you remember, you see it on all the videos of Hollywood where it's like the Paramount Arch. That is right on a street. It's right there. So the lot runs on, it's a big square lot. And so we were sitting outside the theater. So it's like, if you imagine, it's outside the theater, then there's a lot of green, then there's the street, but the street has it's all walled off. But there was one section that you could actually get out because it is a functioning studio. You have trucks coming in and out of it all the time, bringing stuff in, whatever it is to service the studio. And I was sitting there with a bunch of veterans because he'd opened it up to the Sinise Foundation. And dude, there was a car accident right outside, right there, right outside the door.
I know what happened. I know what happened.
They all ran towards it.
They all went towards it. They started triaging the casualties.
Yeah.
They started moving. Yeah, of course, that's what they did.
It was unbelievable. And these guys were up and gone, Trev. They were up and gone, like so fast. I just think that we're lacking people with moral courage, a moral compass, and people that are willing to make the decisions that they should do rather than what they want to do. Yeah.
I mean, it's everywhere. I mean, the one thing who we have to blame for a lot of this is to blame people for this. And okay, this is my opinion. A lot of people that should take the blame for this are serving politicians and journalists, because journalists don't get paid unless they have a good story. So it depends where the journalist goes with this and what papers they think, because the narrative by journalists I find shocking. For instance, I believe J.K. Rowling should have had more support by the media than she did.
Yeah.
But the media took that. The media took that knee type thing and gave up on her. And I think today people fear. A lot of people fear. There's nothing more fearful than public humiliation. Now I'm going to tell you what. I've had that for the last couple of years. I have been publicly humiliated. I've been accused of theft, scamming, everything. So I've been thrown to the wolves by a demographic of people. And see, right now, as I sit here, I'm fucking bulletproof, man. You can say anything you want about me. It doesn't penetrate me anymore. I just accept it. I go, yeah, whatever. Trevor's this, Trevor's that. In there, out there. There's nothing that anyone can do to me now. I don't have an employer. You can't go after me.
Yeah.
I make my own money. You can't report me to the Department of Work and Pensions because I don't take any benefits. So fuck them. So there's nothing they can do to me. Go and report me for this. It's got the stage now whenever I get reported, the police are like, we'll give you a crime number.
Yeah. Oh, goodness.
But
you know what it does, and this is what is frustrating, is that it stops you from doing further good.
Well, it's actually taught me a valuable lesson, though. I can't mention certain companies, but I know certain companies that are doing good with their products to help veterans charities. And I know a lot of the veterans charities aren't even promoting the stuff that people are doing. I mean, if anything, I'm glad at what I've done in the past. I'm glad that I've managed to help some people move forward in life. But it's a valuable lesson for me from here on in to move forward. I do not get involved in veterans charities. And I don't want to get involved in veterans charities. I wish them the best. I think some charities are awesome, but again, there was someone cut one of my videos last week that said, and I stand by it. If I say something, I'm going to own it. The other week, I said about veterans, and I said, you know what? I know great veterans and I know shit veterans, and that's a fact. It's in every job, everything. I know them. A lot of the shit veterans pretend to have PTSD, and they use it to go through their bullshit. And then they go, oh, he said this about me, and I'm now offended. And I'm like, well, you shouldn't have been in the army. The veterans that I know who have suffered and have PTSD are the most generous, genuine ones I've ever come across. And they never moan or complain. They just get on with it. It's the ones that never achieved anything in the army are living off the rest of our stories and pretending that what they did was what we did. I mean, those veterans, and I did say this last week, those veterans need slapped. And the truth is they do.
Well, I saw that, by the way. I mean, and just for the people, they've probably seen it as well. I mean, it was a clip that they took out of context. It's very clear. I mean, even if you look at what's happening, for example, with Trump is a classic example of what they will do is they will edit what he says and they'll cut and they'll come back in and they'll take it out of context. And people are getting more clued up to it that they don't respond. Because I saw it and I'm like, I know that's bullshit. I know what you were saying. And by the way, it's really unfortunate because I remember, and I was talking to, it was actually a guy over here. It wasn't you. And I was talking about, the stuff. I just want to say, Trevor, it's a great hat. It's probably the greatest hat ever. We need more of those hats. More of those hats.
We do.
People don't like those hats. It's sad. It's sad. Sad for them. But what I was going to say is that I used to give the same reverence to every veteran that I met. And I'll be like, wow, hang on a minute. I had an experience with someone, I won't go into it, but they were just clearly grifting, right? Like they'd claimed that they'd been injured. And it was like, oh, I've been in the vicinity of a grenade going off. And my buddy was like, well, if that's the case, then everyone in the American military should get a Purple Heart, right? If you've been in the vicinity of a grenade blast. But anyway, it's not my place to say because I didn't serve. But what my buddy said to me goes, listen, it's just like life. Like it's not a monolithic group of people where everyone is awesome. You get some dickheads, right? You just do. It's a slice of life. And unfortunately, what a certain group of people have done, and it's funny because obviously we've spoken about this before because they came after me. But again, I don't give a shit, right? Because I know you, and we've had these conversations off camera 1,000 times, right?
You'll always get them though, buddy. You got to remember that whenever I was in the military, and I mean this, the guys that I served with in Afghanistan were professional. I mean, I didn't have one passenger. You know, you have like a passenger in your team. I didn't have any. Everyone knew their job inside out. I mean, I never had to raise my voice once as the platoon sergeant. I didn't. They just got on with it. They knew exactly what to do when they came in. They were professional. I had no issues. I mean, when I left the army and we all went their own way, then everyone started developing their own stories of what happened on a certain day. And you've got to bear in mind, and I learned this from writing my first book, I'm writing a book based on what I've written in my notebooks, what I've seen. But if you want your book to be accurate and authentic, you have to contact other people that you serve with to get their perspective from it. Because whenever certain incident happens in Afghanistan, I see it from where I am and what I've seen. But you've got to bear in mind that whenever there's loads of statements going in about, especially in a gun battle, the officers reading those statements are getting different stories from what's leading into it, to build the pictures. So everyone comes out of a battle. Everyone comes out of a battle with a different perspective of what took place, and that's one thing you just gotta accept. Not everyone's going to have the same story.
Well, Trevor, it's interesting you say that because my friend Tim Clemente, who I think I've put you in contact with, his brother Jim Clemente. Was one of the guys that caught the Unabomber. Fascinating guy. Where Tim went in and he was in the Joint Terrorism Task Force of the FBI. So he was a shooter. He was on the hostage rescue team and all that. and his brother was a mind hunter. His brother was a serial killer profiler. Fascinating, like having these conversations with them. But they used to do these crime cons, you know, like you have like Comic Con, you have Crime Con, and what
Yeah.
they would do is they would have a crime committed on stage in front of everybody, right? So that would be nobody knew about it. There would be someone come on and like steal a purse or something like that, and then they'd stop and they'd take six people out the audience, and they would get them to come up one by one and tell their story, ask them the questions like what happened, what was the person wearing, what color hair did they have, what color eyes if they were close enough, whatever it was, what was their skin tone, blah blah blah. He said he did it because you would get all six different answers,
Mm.
even though they all witnessed the same thing. And he said,
Yeah.
you know, a lot of people will certainly look. I mean, it happens when you have a car accident, right? You have a car accident, someone's going, no, 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 you brake before blah, blah, blah. And you're like, no, I didn't. No, that's not true. You did this. And we all have a skewed perspective of things. And that's
Mm.
why when detectives take statements, they take multiple different statements and knit together the
Yeah.
relevant information and pinpoint the same points. And by the way, I always say this and for people that are out there that are looking to do movies or do screenplays or get criticism they're writing, is um, everyone has an opinion, right? And
Mm.
so if you read something, if you have something read, like, you know, you look through First Into Sang and, you know, whatever it would be, if you get the same note multiple times, that is something you should really look at. If you don't get the same note multiple times, it's just someone's opinion and their view, right? So when you get the same facts come up multiple times in this scenario, in a crime scenario, in a battle scenario, you can
Mm.
pretty much say that that happened,
Yeah.
right? Like a mortar comes in, right? If Trevor dove off to the side, or if Trevor wasn't there, two people might have two different perspectives of that situation,
Yeah.
and they might be true from their perspective.
Mm. Yeah.
Yabber, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah. I can hear you. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It makes sense. I
That's
mean,
me. I'll just keep talking.
no, it makes sense. I mean, I've listened to loads of different guys in the past, and it wasn't until sometimes it's not until you're having a beer with them you realize, but no, that's not what I seen. And then they say, well, that's not what you seen because you were in the other compound, but this is what happened here. I had a good view of it, and also, I mean, and it's how you paint a good after action review when everyone comes in and gives their own points about it. Yeah. And then that's how you learn where your defenses are, how to change things, how to improve things, how to make sure it doesn't happen again. It's in every walk of life, but yeah. And
So
that's what
let
it
me
is.
ask you this, Trev. Can I ask you a question? Oh,
Yep.
sorry, go on.
You froze her a bit, but ask me the question.
Sorry, I missed all that. I don't know what's going on with this streaming. What were you saying? Can you repeat it
Me,
again?
I was saying ask your question.
All right. Well, I've got a question.
You froze again.
Uh-oh. It's all gone quiet.
I'm here, but yeah, every time you go to ask a question, you freeze.
I know it's because it's the internet gods don't want me to ask you this question. So here's the question. I'm going to ask it, and then I want you to reply, if you would. If Trevor Coult became Prime Minister of the UK, give me your top 5 things that you would do to rectify the direction that the country's going in.
Right. Top 5 things. First thing I would do is I would invest up to £1 billion in disused military camps. I would have them brought back up into life, and I would make sure they were used as hubs for all homeless veterans, and then that would be that dealt with. So simple. Open up 2 old camps, have the infrastructure put in there, have companies and charities put in there where you can get help. I would put mental health charities in there. So I'd have different parts, different buildings for different charities that do good stuff in there, rent free. There'd be accommodation. We'd have chefs in there. It would be to get veterans back, homeless veterans back onto like work routines to go back out to the real world. So it would take two camps, open it up, and basically guys could do up to 6 months in there, a bit like basic training. They do 6 months in there, they do what they need to do, and then they go back out in a civilian street, hopefully better than what they were. So yeah, so I would end veterans homelessness. The second thing I would do would be get all veterans and ex-police, ex-army, ex-fire service, anyone that has something about them, I would rehire them and ask them to protect our borders. I would stop boats arriving, quite simple, and I would stop having our navy being used as Ubers across the English Channel. I would stop investing. I would stop giving money away to countries that we don't need it. China don't need any money. India don't need our money. They're worth it. So stop investing in countries that have space programs. Quite simple.
Yeah.
Invest. Bring back the days of the YTP, the youth training programs. We went and learned a trade. Bring back that to help the youth. You wouldn't need national service then. And I would make it completely illegal to fly ISIS flags and other flags in our country unless it was certain days.
I got told off for saying that the other day. You know,
I can't
saying that. I think that if
invest, so basically,
it's a major problem.
Invest in what we have. For instance, people don't like to talk about it, and when you talk about it, you get shouted at. But for instance, a lot of medical centres in the UK, they've brought the catchment areas in really tight around the buildings and they're making everybody else go to we're all being told to go to the hospital, A&E. Why? Because we can't go to the local medical centres because our local medical centres are now being used up with an influx of people arriving in the area, and we're putting pressure on the NHS. I would bring in a system where if you're coming to the UK, a bit like Australia and America, oh, you want to come and live here? Okay, what assets do you have, and have you got a job to come to? If you're coming here just to go on the benefits, then no, don't let people in. It's quite simple. We need to start taking ownership. So the first thing I'd do would be open up. I would commission empty barracks to be brought back into life, to put all the homeless veterans, get rid of them, get them back into work, which is what most of them want. Protect our borders is another thing. Stop funding foreign wars. Stop being so fucking nosy. Leave countries to sort out their own shit. We don't need to get involved every single time. Stop it. Because what happens when we get involved? There's then we then get attacks on our country. Just stop getting involved. It's nothing to do with us. Listen.
But also, Trev, also there ends up being this guilt, which.
Well, I mean, where do we live? In the West? Why do we want to bring the East to the West? Why do we want to take the West to the East? Leave them alone. Leave people alone. Just stop interfering in other people's shit. Just leave them alone. You know what I mean? Our sons and daughters and kids and mums and dads don't deserve to be put through this shit just because Why can't politicians sit down and negotiate? What's happened to negotiation? Why is it all like, okay, we're going to fight you? I mean, why, you're adults.
Well, because it's all about money. And I was one of the things that I was talking about. Oh crap! Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, darn it. All right. So one of the things I was talking about the other day on this channel, if you haven't liked and subscribed, please do it right now. I honestly will get these. I don't know why my internet isn't streaming properly right now because it's super fast here. So I might have to go and do maybe it's the software I'm using. But anyway, I was talking on this channel the other day about the Crusades. And the fact is that Richard the Lionheart, who was the King of England, actually was first into battle. He was like 20 odd years old, and he would fight at the very front with the troops. So he was invested in it. The fact of the matter is that the politicians now that haven't served, they don't understand what war is, right? They don't understand the struggles and the treasure that you have to give up to go to war, right? So why do we have, and this is for the first time, I mean, if you look back, Winston Churchill war, like he wanted to get to the front, right? In the First World War, he wanted to be at the front. Even if you want to, criticize him because he was a psychopathic maniac, Hitler was in the First World War. Hitler fought in the war, right? So it's the same with actors, Trev. There's a bunch of actors. If you look at the golden era of acting, they were all veterans, right? So they all knew, Jimmy Stewart, Charles Bronson,
George Pepper, George Pepper from the A-Team. They all did it.
Even Eastwood was a veteran, or is a veteran. So there was an investment in that. So they understood when you are committing lives, it's not just a game. It's not just a game of risk for you to sit there and push these, these pieces around a board for them to go off and die. And so here's what I think, Trevor. It's honestly probably, and I love America, and I'm an American citizen, and I love it here. The only thing that would ever get me going back to the UK is to run, and I don't even think I can now, but it's to do those kind of things. The first thing is shut the borders, stop and deport anyone who shouldn't be here, stop giving them benefits, like absolutely stop giving them benefits. If anyone flies a flag of like ISIS or anything else, they're gone. They're out the country. They're deported immediately. Like, you are not allowed in this country. And the truth of the matter is, and people do not want to say this, right, because they get called all kinds of names, is that all cultures are not equal. Western culture is better than the Middle Eastern culture. It just is. It is. It comes out of the Greek, and then it went into the Roman, and then it was built, whether people like the Catholic Church or not. The Catholic Church did a lot of good, founded the universities, got the morals and the Judeo-Christian values that we've lived with for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. And now we have a culture that's coming into the UK that is not compatible. It's not compatible. And that culture will tell you it's not compatible. And one of the things they say, Trev, sorry for me going on a bit of a rant, is they'll go, no, we do, Britain is our home. Yeah, that doesn't mean that you want Britain as it is, right? They're already coming out and saying, no, you wait, like, we're going to change. We're going to change, and we know what we're going to do over there. It is not racist or xenophobic or any of those other bullshit things that they throw out to say this, right? Because it's going to damage a lot of people. It's as simple as that, right? And we should be able to say our way of life is better than that. And it is. It just is. It's objectively is, right?
Yeah.
Sorry for going on a rant.
No, it makes sense, though. I always sit and, I mean, it got to this now where I used to get really worked up about it, but I don't now. I mean, individuals come to the UK to escape persecution, to escape their way of life. And the first thing they do when they get here, they then try and implement the way of life they've just escaped from. Doesn't make sense.
But because, Trevor, nobody's telling them that they can't do that. They've been told, look, multiculturalism does not work. It has never worked anywhere where it's been in the world. It doesn't work. It causes faction. It causes fighting. And it's just that the Brits have just not... because, look, nobody wants to be called a racist. And I said this the other day. I'm like, look, Islam is not a race, right? If you want to criticize the Church of England, go ahead, do it. If you want to go and criticize the Catholic Church, go ahead and do it. You want to criticize Islam? No, you can't do that because it's racist. Why? It's not. And it's not criticizing Muslims either, right? But nobody says, oh, you cannot criticize Christians. It's like, yeah, whatever. Or you can't criticize atheists for that matter, or Hindus, or whatever. So it's a very strange situation we find ourselves in, right?
I mean, the church is the biggest organization on the planet, and I sit back and, for instance, our own Archbishop of Canterbury, this year, was it last year? This year, it doesn't matter. Clocked up 44,000 air miles. He went to Gaza, he went to Pakistan, he went to Iraq, and I'm thinking, and then he comes back and things that people don't talk about, because everyone needs something to look forward for, and I get that. But it's like, for instance, even the Pope, they stand on their balcony, they go and sit in their gold thrones with their gold canes, and then they tell us that we need. Can you all give us a little bit of your wages? Why? I mean, there's people in Rome that are homeless. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
how can that be?
Yeah, there's a lot of hypocrisy, and I think that what's worse is that there are look, the church is like any other corporation, any other institution, is that you have corrupt people in it and you have honest people in it. I mean, it's just, I don't know why people feel that it should be any different. I don't.
Yeah.
In the same way, we're talking about the veterans, like they're not one monolithic group. But certainly, I mean, I see it here in America with the Catholic Church, and I'm Catholic. Is they're like, no, we need to leave let people in over the border. No, you don't, and that's not your place to say that. It's not your place to say. I get it that you want to help people, but the problem is you cannot live your life looking at things through rose-tinted spectacles. That everyone is coming and being honest about their intentions. It's just not true. I mean,
Did you see there's an interview floating around where there's people going around going, let in refugees, all the placards, and then there's a guy interviewing them all going, where should they go when we let them in? Well, we should take them in. Will you take one in? Well, I can't take one in. I haven't got a spare room. So everyone on that march wanted us to take on refugees, but no one protesting was willing to take a refugee. Isn't that really weird how people behave?
Trev, did you see what happened here with Martha's Vineyard? Did you see what happened?
Bits of it, yeah, not all of it.
Yeah, so what they did was, DeSantis took the people from Florida and flew them up and dropped them off in Martha's Vineyard. And Martha's Vineyard shut them down so fast because people don't realize, like, when I wish people in the UK and actually people that aren't on the border towns could go and see what is going on in America. He
dropped them off in a place where the rich and famous were, and they didn't like it. They wanted rid of them.
They did not want it one bit. All after like going, it's the same thing with the riots that went on with BLM, in the mostly peaceful protests that were going on a few years ago. Because I was in LA and it was looking like they were going up and getting into Beverly Hills. Dude, it stopped. It stopped at Beverly Hills. It was like, no. They got to the Grove. It's a big shopping place called the Grove. And then they were immediately stopped. Like, they did not get any further up into Beverly Hills. It was crazy because they're playing us, dude. The elites are playing us. And it's not fair. It's not fair. And here's the thing that people don't. Do you know, Trevor, there have been a conservative estimate is 7 million people coming across the border since Biden's got in. 7 million. That's conservative.
Mate, 7 million. That is everyone that lives in Northern Ireland twice.
Dude, it's crazy. I look at that and I'm like, Malta has 400,000, maybe 500,000 people there now. Like, it's 14, whatever. It's whatever it is, that amount more. Yeah, 14 times more than the people that are in Malta, right? So, I mean, it's unsustainable. And here's the thing. It was like, oh, you're racist. Listen, you know this, Trevor. You've worked and fought against insurgents, right? How would you want to take down a country, right? You would bring people in and you would bring soldiers in and destroy it from the inside.
Well, that's 7 million votes for Biden.
That's what it is at the end of the day. I mean,
that's how you look at it. It's like everyone that's arriving in the UK illegally and stuff. The more that get in, that's the more votes for Labour.
Yeah, the difference is here. I mean, the thing that worries me, and by the way, I just want to put this out to any of the people of a certain age on the chat, if they're Brits. If you were ever caught with a knife, you were called a complete coward, right? Like, you get into a fight. Like, I think when I was going to pubs entirely too young, but there'd be fights every Friday and Saturday night, right? There'd be a bit of a rumble. Normally, it would happen before you, like in between going from the pub to the club, and then after the club to the Indian restaurant, right? Like there was those little gaps of fighting, and then those, the Indian guys at the Indian restaurants. My goodness me, the amount of stick they got was unbelievable. But if you pulled out a knife, you were completely considered to be a coward. I just saw a video the other day of the cops pulling over a kid in London, and he pulls out a frigging machete. It was like this big.
London, yeah, it's weird. I mean, I've never ever witnessed anyone pull out a knife. Never. I suppose I've been lucky. I've never hung around with people that behave like that for a start. I mean, it's just it doesn't.
Why would
It
you want to
doesn't.
knife someone? Like you, I can understand having a bit of a ding dong. Like we grew up with that, right? Like you settle you. And by the way, I miss that. I think there's a lot of that we've eradicated from life that we shouldn't have. Like bullies getting a punch in the face. I'm all right with that, to be honest.
There was a day, but when you had an issue with somebody, even in the army, if you had an issue with somebody, you went around the back of the block and you squared each other away. And but here's what we didn't do. See, in the army, whenever you had an issue with somebody, right, you had a fight and you knocked them down. I don't remember anyone sticking the boot in or kicking anyone. That was not. That wasn't allowed. I mean, it was fair and square. Yeah, but
we've lost our moral compass because everyone's telling us that we're bad. Like I'm absolutely sick of these people that have come in, and it's mainly first generation immigrants. Look, and people have criticized me, and I'm just going to say this for the people on here as well, is when I moved to America, I said, that's it. I'm an American. That's it. That is it. I'm committing to the country. That is it. I'm an American now. I'm not a British American. I'm not a, hyphenated. My wife isn't Maltese American. My kids aren't Maltese, English, Irish Americans. They are just Americans. That's it. Because I believe when you go to a country, you need to embrace that culture and you need to say, okay, this is my identity now. And I get a lot of stick for that. But I think if you put the boot on the other foot, if people were going to England and they were saying, that's it, there's an Indian guy who's a Sikh, and he keeps saying, I am English. I am. And people are like, no, you're not. Yes, he is, right? His heritage might not be that, but he's embracing the culture fully. And we should be respectful of that. That's what you want. You don't want people to go, oh, I hate this country and all the things that it stands for. England, the UK, is a great nation.
Yep. 1 second, Matthew. What's up, son?
Nothing, don't worry.
You okay?
Yeah.
There's juice in the bottom fridge. You can use that if you want.
No, that's all right.
I love the live.
Yeah. He's just shy of 6 foot now.
I saw him last time. He's massive.
Yeah, he's tall, isn't he? He's big.
You've been planting him in the Miracle Grow every night. You put him in a one of those bags, grow bags. That's what I used to get all the time. Why did they put you in a grow bag?
What's that? What size of shoes do you wear, by the way? UK size. What size you wear?
Oh, UK 12.
Oh, he's a 10.
My son Finn he's bigger than me. He's about an inch big. He's like 6'4", maybe a little bit, maybe 6'5". I'm not sure. But he has little feet. He has size 10 US, which is 9 or 10 and a half.
Yeah.
I'm like, you have really, really small feet for a tall guy.
By the way, it's Connor. He's come to cross as if he's sponsored by Nike. He has so many Nike trainers, doesn't he? So many Nike.
Yeah, it's one of those kids things. Like they love the trainers. I just don't understand it personally. But he's a really good. Yeah, I mean, when I grew up, I had and I used to get teased for him. I had Dr. Mark.
Yeah.
Fashionista now because people look back. Docs are really expensive, but I Doc Martin trainers because
when I was growing up, expensive trainers were 50. I mean, the most expensive trainers, the cap was about 50 quid. But now they're 110, 120. It's shocking.
Oh no, they're more than that. No, they're more than that. You can get them up into 300 quid, and I think it's obscene. Well, Trev, I just want to look down here. I'm going to look at a couple of these messages that you can't see, but I can because this is my stream.
Go ahead.
All right. So Lisa says I was witnessing court for a stabbing that happened across the road from my address, and it was about drugs. Yeah, that was another thing. Like glue sniffing was the worst you ever came across, right back in the day.
Yeah.
Zephyr K9. I have to say, I'm glad that I have Second Amendment rights. It's the one thing that's going to save the United States is the Second Amendment. That is it.
Yeah.
It's the one thing that they would be. We saw through COVID, man. Like they're all down with tyranny, and a bunch of your next door neighbors are down with tyranny as well. It's very different. Liberal, but it's not. Some of it is. Okay. I made the local Derbyshire Times with it all. I won't tell you about the crack house shut down by 4 women. You go, Lisa. Someone's having there's a bit of a ding dong going on here. I'm not exactly sure what's going on. Hang on. Lisa says, yeah, Matthew, the UK was warned in the 1980s this would happen, yet no one listened. I'm not going to say that it was warned before that and rationally warned, but the person that warned of it was deemed to be a racist. And by the way, I mean, sorry, go on.
Have you got a fight going on in your chat?
There's something going on with some troll, but I just can't be bothered. They'll deal with it. They'll get on and hammer it. Have you guys listen? I'm going to ask you all right now, and I want you to respond on the chat. See, because I can talk like that. Trevor, do you like that? Like that? Have you subscribed?
Get someone to post who the troll is. Just say who the troll is and just block them, or else you're going to have that prick forever.
Okay, so have I got to go and block this person, Lucinda Sweden?
Lucinda Sweden's an arsehole. I know of her.
All right. You are gone.
Yeah, she props up all the time. I mean, it just baffles me. Why can't these people just go out? I mean, go for a coffee with your friends. Sit down and chat with your mum on the phone. Do something. Have a friend. Why do they think this is a fun thing to do? It's because, I mean...
Listen, I think one of the biggest things that you find out as an adult is that the people that you mixed with at school, they haven't changed. Like the assholes are still the assholes. The losers are still the losers, you know.
Well, I'll tell you what, mate. I'll be honest with you. See the guys that I went to school with, Mark Miller, Dean Campbell, Brian Johnson, they're all still great guys. I mean, I was don't get me wrong. I suppose you don't hang around with people that are nasty, but I hung around with great talented people. I mean, Dean went on to become really, really way up in the Royal Navy. Mark, DJ, he does podcasts and stuff now. I know that. I mean, there was quite a few people. I mean, Colin is now a DJ, works at BBC. There's quite a few people that I went to school with that have done quite well, and I wish them the best of success. I don't sit and dwell and go, oh, they done better than me. Some of them really, really have, and I'm thankful that I've remained their friends. Have you fallen asleep?
Say again?
No, just saying that I'm really thankful. A lot of the guys that I went to school with have done really, really well, and I'm pleased.
Sorry, go on.
I'm pleased for them. I'm really pleased for them. I think they worked hard and they deserve it.
I don't get the hate. I don't know why. And listen, I've been told I wouldn't succeed from when I was a kid, you know. And it's funny because recently I went back, you know. Well, you know, because I saw you.
Mm.
You came to meet me.
Yeah, that was nice.
And I met you and Gwen in person, which was awesome. But I came back and my sister, I said, you know what, I'd love to see some of my friends from when I was a kid. Because, you know, I've moved away. I've done well, you know, like you've had amazing experiences in your life. My life has been insane, as you know. Um, but you're still your friends, right? Those are the people that really know you when you were
Yeah.
in your formative years, right? You know, from when you go to junior school, and you know, my friend Paul, who was a grenadier, he's my oldest, longest friend. And I came back and I met a bunch of people. You know, my buddy Ian, who looks like Aquaman. If you haven't seen it, go see him. He's amazing. I saw him at my sister's wedding as well. He's an incredible guy. Um, and a bunch of other people, twins that I went to school with, and it was really amazing. You know, it's really amazing. And you know what? Every single one of them were so happy for me and what I'd achieved
Yeah.
in my career, and I'm super happy for them as well. Some of them were teachers. You know, some of them did other things. Ian's a postie, but you know, great guy, hasn't changed. You know,
Did Will come
just
and did Will get a chance to come and see you there over the last couple of weeks?
No, he didn't. And Will came over and he was going to touch down. I don't know why he didn't. He did tell me why there was a reason why he didn't come
Yeah.
here, but I'm going to see him again. I'm actually, for all the people on that, I am going to come over to the UK again very soon. So it'd be nice to have a meet up with a bunch of people. I want to actually go down. I'll meet it with you again, and it'd be nice to go and meet with Loza and Calvin. I saw Calvin Robinson. He was filming up near where I am, and I went and picked him up because he really wanted to go to a Whataburger.
Yeah. Calvin's really down to earth. I've never met Calvin, if I'm honest, but
He's really
I've spoke
tall.
to him
He's
on
really
different things.
tall.
But he's he comes across as a very highly educated man.
And he's a lovely person. And yeah, I'm you know, it is weird. Like, I don't understand people that are haters, but you know, they're out there.
Yeah.
They're out there. You just got to, you know, I've never been jealous of anyone in my entire life. You know, never. It's just, you know, it doesn't exist.
No. No. See,
And I've
that's the
never
thing.
heard you. I've got to say this, Trev, behind the scenes, like, I've never heard you say anything mean about anybody, or be bitter about anybody. And just for anyone, I'm going to embarrass you here, Trev. Not that, you know, people will know this, and I do actually have to cut this live off in a minute because I've got to go and do another live show.
All right.
But I'm going to tell you this, is that in all the time that I've known Trevor, I've never heard him be anything other than complimentary of other people, wanting to help. Like, he was the one that just kept telling me, you have to do a YouTube channel. You have to do a YouTube channel. I was like, no. And he was like, no, you've got to do it. You've got to do it. You've got to do it. And is constantly trying to help others. And even though you get, because, you know, you're in survival mode, right? When you get to the point where you're being bombarded by people and all the stupid accusations, which are really annoying. You've always been graceful. And I think people need to know that, like, behind the scenes. I wouldn't say if you were a dick behind the scenes, but
Well,
you know,
how many YouTube banners and stuff I sent you to try and build this up? What about this banner? I designed so many things, and you just went, "They're shit."
No, you were like, no, you got to do it. You got to. I was like, no. And then you're like, and I said, all right, Trevor, I'm going to do it. And that's why I said, like, you have to be the first one on it.
Well,
yeah,
buddy, and the thing is, and people watching will know this. The amount of YouTubers that I helped in the past, and they've also, bear in mind, there's other YouTubers out there that really helped me. I mean, there's a lot of, there's too many to mention, but a lot of YouTubers helped build me up, and then I helped build other people up. But for some reason, the last 3 or 4 YouTubers that I've really helped have turned around and just stabbed you in the back, and you're this, you're that, because whenever you lift someone up, not all, but whenever you lift certain YouTubers up, they expect you to be there for their whole time. And whenever you want to go and do other things, they then become quite bitter. And it's quite sad. But not all YouTubers are like that. There's just a few that have been.
Not all YouTubers are like that, I promise. That you're going to have to start saying that, like I said about actors, because
I know.
You know,
but I mean, I will be honest with you. There is a wonderful YouTube community. I'll give you a few decent ones, which, you know, you'd love to chat to them. They're brilliant and they add value. I mean, there's quite a few out there and they work together.
Yeah, well, You know, Trev, you pushed me to do this. You pushed me to do a live as well. And even though, you know, I don't really know what I'm doing when it comes to doing live, because listen, I'm a little bit of a pampered actor that normally when I go out and do my stuff, that it's all done for me, right? I just come up and I'm a meat puppet and I do my thing. But so I want to thank you, and so I'm gonna go, right, because I've got to go and get to this other show. I'm so happy that you were the first person I did on my own live stream. I want to thank everybody that has come and taken the time. I'm gonna start doing these more often. What I might do is, because I know there's a UK contingent, so I might do a subject for the UK contingent, and then do something later on. And for the night owls that don't night owls,
I'm going to reach
that
out to
don't
my friend Fiona Hesk, Ava Gardner. She's a great YouTuber. She lives in Gibraltar with her hubby. They
right.
spend half the time in their own home, and they spend the other half the time on their boat. They are brilliant. Yeah, you'd like to get them on.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that'd be great.
Yeah. Well, listen.
Go on.
Have a wonderful day. Thanks for having me on, buddy. And it's always great to catch up with you. Okay.
Well, thank you. And I want to thank every single person that's come on here. Oh.
Okay. We'll catch you later, buddy. Enjoy your
All right,
evening.
brother.
Take
See
care.
you guys.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.